I've had this MR-13B drill sharpening machine for about 6 months now. It's had a fair bit of use. I've ground hundreds of drills. I thought I've mentioned it in some other videos, but I've not actually described it. Ordinarily it's kept here on this shelf. It's actually one of the multi-drawer shelves, and I've just created this, made this aluminium plate which just sits on top, and it can slide in as far as it can, and it's out of the way. Pull it out so we can see it. So what I'll do is I'll just describe it, and then we'll try it and watch it grind a few drills. So it's not a very big machine, but it is quite heavy. It's all metal, the casing, all the fittings, there's no plastic in it. It consists of, this machine, it's about, well, I don't know, 12 inches by 6 inches by about the same, 6 inches. What you get is the machine plus a set of collets, and as the name suggests, MR-13, it goes up to 13 millimeters diameter, so about half an inch. I wish I'd got the larger capacity one, which goes up to 20 millimeters, the MR-20. So that does up to, well, 20 millimeters, 3/4 of an inch diameter. Would have been quite useful. But, you know, for most work on the lathe, drilling machine, up to half-inch drills, it does the job. So let's have a look at the little gadgets on it. The first one on the left is to set the well, it calls it web diameter, but what you're doing is you're setting the angle for whatever size drill correct to address the grind wheel in this side. For that you have a collet holder which holds the drill, and that just fits in the front. There are two flats on this, one either side, and there is a flat at the bottom of here, this front face, and that registers. At the back you've got this dial which you set to the diameter of the drill, so you know that's set for 9 millimeters. That adjusts the height of the stop against which the cutting edge rests. So the depth into the collet is set by this back plate. You push it in with the point resting against the back. That sets the depth of cut correctly. And then there's a little ledge down there. As you rotate this, that engages the cutting edge, and that sets the correct angle. Demonstrate there. So this cutting edge there is rotated to the right position. You then lock this with that ring at the back, and you move over to the cutting edge, cutting part of the machine, which is this, and there is this rotating fixture here. You can set this at an angle. At the moment it's set for 118 degrees, standard sort of point angle. This holder engages in that. It's quite a close fit and can be a bit awkward because it doesn't go straight in. It's held at an angle, and the two flats engage this slot, and that action grinds the first cutting edge You then remove it, you rotate it 180 degrees, reinsert it, and it does the other side. You just have to continue grinding until it sparks out. That's quite important. It has to finish grinding, and that way you get perfectly even grinds on each cutting edge. And that way the drill will produce even cuts on either side, and that stops the drill wandering. At the top there's another fixture, and this varies from model to model. This is an MR-13B, and this will do split point, and at the same time it does web thinning, the amount of which is controlled by these little pins you can see here. These can be moved to various positions, and that's how much back relief you get is controlled by that. So this goes in here. After that operation, you pop it in there. The depth is set automatically, and then the rotation is limited by those two pins. Okay, so the further around here it goes, then the further it will grind back. So a quick look inside. This adjustment here is, I'm not sure what this is. You just never adjust this thing. It's up and down. I think it's to adjust the split point position. You know, the exact point where it grinds a split point. It has to be quite precise, but it's set from the factory, and I've never had to alter it. Let's have a look inside. I'll take this thumb screw out. Doing this blind, I can't see what I'm doing. I think I may have to move the camera. Then this cover will just, yeah. Come on, you've just been open. There we go. That will open. Let me just move the camera so you can see. So that's what we've got inside. We've got the grind wheel, and this one's CBN for high-speed steel. They can be changed for a diamond one for carbide drills. I don't have enough solid carbide drills to make it worthwhile buying one, but I probably will at some point. Notice what I've got is a whole bunch of neodymium magnets stuck everywhere. These are collecting the dust. See that? Come that off. That's grind dust. So that stops it flying everywhere. It's just collected in there. Believe me, that's been emptied quite a few times. You just pull the magnets off and scrape off the dust, and it stops it ending up all over the place. There is a port down here, you might be able to see, and in theory you can connect that to a vacuum system. But of course, to do that, it's going to have to be off the ground, or the port is going to have to be drilled through a work surface, so you can connect something to it. It doesn't come in from the back, it's down at the bottom. So it's not really on for me to use that. Well, that's it. It's quite simple. To change wheels, you just undo that little cap head screw there, take that out, the wheel just pulls off. Now I've got to try and put this screw back without being able to see what I'm doing. Okay, it's back in one piece. The machine is quite quiet in operation. So you're not going to annoy anybody with that. So let's have a look at grinding something. I've got no blunt drills, all my drills are sharp. And believe me, I've got a lot of them. even the spare ones like these. First of all, you've got to find a collet suitable. I'll try this. I think that one's that one. Yeah, these are imperial drills, whatever size, I don't know. What is that? Size 0. Number drill. Okay. So, we insert that into the collet holder. These look like big holes, but they're not. For the small drills, they're actually that size. They're sort of special collets, not your normal collets, whereas these are big all the way through. Yeah. So don't think you can use ER collets. You can't. Well, they work just like ER collets. So that will go in there, like so. And we screw that on. And we put our drill in, like so. Now we need to set it. Letter O, what size is that? It's 7 to 9. Okay, we'll call it 8 then. Something like that. And it's pushed up against the back, and then it's rotated, and then the drill is rotated against the stop, and we can tighten it up. That's now in the right position for getting ground. So I'll just move this over a little bit so it's in a better position. I'm not sure the lighting's great, but okay. Start the machine. It doesn't take long. Okay, it's just about stopped grinding. So that's one side done. So we take it out, turn it round 180 degrees, put it back in and grind the other side. Okay, that's finished. Now, that is about as much as most drill sharpeners do, and that's a perfectly serviceable point. 118 degrees, the right back off, and it's a great finish, and that will work fine. But as I say, we can now, I've set this for a medium web thin and split point. We can now do that process simply by dropping it in the top port, rotating it. And I don't know whether this will show up. I may have to take some high-res pictures on this. But you may be able to see the back edge is cut away, given some relief, and the split point is perfect. twin chisel point. Yeah, I'm going to have to take some high-res pictures of that because you just can't see. Hang on a sec. Okay, so that's it. That's the whole process of sharpening the drill. But what I'll do now, I think, is try a bigger drill. And halfway through I will blue the end. Just pull another one out. Again, this is already sharpened. I think what I'll do is I'll change it to 135 degree point. I have several sets of drills. Some are set to 118, some are set to 135. It'll go from 90 degrees to 140. So we just undo that screw. We move this around to 135. Okay, tighten that up again. I'm going to need a different collet. See if we can find which one it is. Not that one. Not that one. That's the best fit. There. Take that out. Let's have a look. What size is this drill? I can't read it. Oh, Trent. Yeah, it's unreadable. Doesn't matter. So, install a collet. Collet in the main body. And it's about 13. It looks about a 1/2 inch drill. So partially tighten this so it's moved too much, so it can still move. It's back over here a bit. Put it in here. Make sure that is level. Point against the back. Turn it so the cutting edge is up against the ledge, and then it's safe to tighten it. And that is set. I don't know how much it cuts off when it's set with this, you know, the depth of cut, but if you've got a really damaged drill, you may have to do this several times. So you take a cut with this, but if it still shows some damage on the cutting edge, you need to go back to this, reset the depth of cut and go back again. It has to be really bad for that though. The other thing to watch with drills is, get another drill. The wear on this land here. Doesn't matter about the cutting edges, you can always sort those out, but this land here, if that's worn, you've got a problem. You either cut the drill back to where it's not worn. I'm talking about this edge here. Yeah. You either cut it back to where it's not worn and then put an edge cutting point on it, or you toss it away. Because if that's worn, it's not going to cut a parallel hole. It's going to probably jam, because it's going to cut a sort of cone, and then it'll jam, and you really don't want that. Anyway, let's sharpen this drill. Move it back over. See what I'm doing. These take a bit longer, it's obviously having to remove more material. No need to press against the wheel, just let it find its own way, just keep rotating it. Well, that's one side done. Turn it round 180. As you can hear, it's near finished. I should say that the reason why it's so accurate in the way it produces a point is you don't have to remove it from the holder. Normally you would loosen whatever fitting there is, rotate the drill manually and reclamp it. Doing that, you lose the accuracy. Here it just stays in that collet, doesn't move. You just rotate the collet, and that's a key point. So that's again is a perfectly serviceable. Turn this off. That's a perfectly serviceable cutting point. You can see the width of the web there. That's what we really want to thin out and put a split point on. Not always, but it does help with the accuracy of drilling, because there's far less pressure required on the point to start the hole with a split point. So I'm just going to blue the end of this up, hopefully without spilling this stuff everywhere. Okay. Ooh, rather a bit too much. Well, I've gone and wiped it off now. Okay, just got to let that dry off. Great stuff this, I don't know why it's so damned expensive. It stinks because it's, well, it's not ethyl acetate, which is what I recognise the smell as. It's butyl acetate, but it's got the same smell. That's the solvent they're using. I don't know whether you can make your own. I suppose you could. Are you dry yet? Right, I'm going to do blowing on it to try and make it dry quicker. Right, I'm going to do a split point now. You can see which bits it's grinding. Oh, get in. One side, 180. Yeah, should have done it. You see in this, that's what it's taken off at that setting. You can make it greater or lesser. it still creates the split point now, and that's what it's ground off at that setting. I'm going to have to take another high-res photo of that, so I'll just pause the camera again. Okay, and we're back. That's another successful grind. As you can see, it doesn't take long to go through some drills once you get into the routine. I've done full sets of drills in sort of like less than an hour. With a D-bit grinder, there's so much more setting up. The only advantage to me of the D-bit grinder for grinding drills is that it's not limited to 13mm capacity, but the hassle of doing it far exceeds using this machine. I didn't pay much for this. I mean, it was about 268 quid when I got it. Unfortunately, prices have gone up, and I would have to check what the price is now, but I can guarantee you it's more than that. It came from China, got it off AliExpress, and with that platform you have to wait for deals to come up, discounts, coupons they call them, and just bide your time until you see one at a good price. And there are lots of traders selling them. You've got to go round them one by one, try and find the best price, and they have a habit of jacking up the shipping costs. So they'll put a frontline price on it, I don't know, say it was 300 quid, and then you look and it's 150 quid extra for shipping. You know, it's ridiculous, because the shipping charges have got absolutely nothing to do with charges for shipping. It's just a method of hacking up the price, you know, so they can advertise a low price and then bung the rest of it on the shipping costs. It's really annoying, because the only way you see the shipping costs is if you open up the advert, and then you can see how much they're asking. I've even seen them where they quote free shipping, then you open up the advert and they bung 50 quid on for shipping. So there's really not that much control over them. Anyway, the deals are there to be had if you can find them, and in this case it was worth the trouble of shopping around. I can't recommend this thing enough. If you know, got a lot of drills to sharpen, or you need to sharpen drills quite often, it's a great time saver. It does a brilliant job. It's really awesome what it can do. It's so pleasing to see when you stick a drill in the lathe tailstock and shove it into a piece of work. You get perfectly even coils of swarf coming out of each side, and that tells you that it's ground correctly and it's cutting straight. Quite often you'll see more swarf coming out of one side than the other, out of one flute than the other flute, and that tells you that it's uneven cutting. It's cutting more on one side than the other. If that happens, then you're probably cutting an oversized hole. This avoids that problem. So I do recommend it if you can find the cash to buy one. I can recommend buying one. Put this over here, take the power cord out, and it just goes back like so, and it's really out of the way. Let me just loosen the camera off again. You can see approximately where it is. It's underneath, it's out of the way, and it's always handy. That's the stand for the camera. So that's it. That's my opinion on this machine. Well worth buying. Thanks. See you next time.